Today, we're going to learn how to use brand templates, translate, Magic Translate specifically, and bulk create. These are all key features in the enterprise suite of Canva. And this training is primarily focused on, social teams and content teams that are creating at scale. So first things first, I just want to say hello. My name is Dimitri. I'm one of the co-founders at OSnap. We are a brand systems agency. We are an official Canva agency partner, and we love working with these tools. So I'm this guy. Um, you will recognize me from other potential training videos, but we're going to keep moving and jump into today's focus. So we're going to cover a number of things. We're going to start with the Canva Visual Suite. We're going to jump into using brand templates and the full brand suite, truly. We're going to create sheets and use the AI features in Magic Write and Translate. And then finally, we're going to wrap things up by using bulk create. So let's start with the Canva Visual Studio. This is a powerhouse that Canva announced, I believe, in last April at Canva Create, which I was at in Los Angeles. It was incredible. And in addition to all of the powerful design features that are available in Canva, it also added sheets functionality, docs functionality, whiteboards, presentation, social photo editor, all of the things that you see on the screen right now. What's particularly cool about this, though, is that it also enables you to work within single project files. So if you think about most projects that you've worked on in the past, right, there was probably a brief that lived in a doc somewhere, right? There was an initial presentation that lived somewhere else completely, right? There were probably design files, there was project management tools, there were comments, there was all sorts of things that were going on, videos, right? And every single one of those pieces lived somewhere different. What is available now with the Canva Visual Studio is to have them all in one place, which is just really, really convenient to be honest. So the first thing you'll notice, and this is where it kind of lives, is if you look at the bottom of the screen, you see a couple of slides. There's not much here. I'm even thinking ahead to the end where I say thank you, right? But historically, when you were to add a new page to something, if you hit this plus button, it just adds a new slide, right? We don't want that in this particular instance. So we're going to go back here, and rather than hitting the plus directly, we're going to hit this caret, and there's this add page type button. So when you pop that up, all of a sudden you see options for your sheet, for your doc, for your presentation, whiteboard, social media, video, print, websites. There's more, including a custom size, which I think is really cool. So if you're working on something that's a bit more specific or bespoke, you can just create a custom size page. So for this particular training, we are going to focus on social. So we're going to click the social media button, and it's going to show you all of the options that are available within social. And if you look, like, you see, it's the Instagram reel, it's a Facebook video, a TikTok video, a Facebook cover photo. These are all of the sizes that are most commonly associated with social media posts. So what we're going to do in this particular instance is we're just going to do an Instagram post. Okay. So it brings up just an empty page here. You, if you were so inclined, could design a page. You could design your own thing. You hit T, text pops up. You can add elements from the element selector if that's what you need. We're not going to do any of that right now. We are actually going to use a template. So in this left sidebar, you see a lot of great buttons, a lot of great options. We are going to jump into this brand one. And if you have brand templates, which you should, they will pop up right here at the top. So if you'll see also, like, we have our brand kit set up. So there are logos, there's colors, there's fonts, chart styles, things of that nature. We are going to go into this brand template section up at the top. So we're going to click see all, and we have a few different options that we typically work with. Today, we're going to work on the quote template. So we clicked it. You saw actually right off the bat something really interesting. The template itself is a square, whereas this page is a rectangle. So Canva was smart enough to resize and refill things on its own, which is super, super cool. So if you look at this super straightforward template, nothing fancy, nothing wild going on here. We're going to have a quote here. We have this cool image frame that we can drop photos into. We have this author label, and then our logo, which isn't going to change in this particular instance. So this is where we start thinking about how do we fill this with content? What do we do? And we're going to push back into the Visual Studio here to create a spreadsheet. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Dimitri, why would I create a spreadsheet? We are in a design tool. Well, sometimes you need structured data to automate and use AI to do a number of things. So, in this particular instance, we're going to create this spreadsheet from scratch. But also, if you go to this design tab, there's a whole bunch of templates that you could lean on: social media calendars, project Gantt charts, client trackers. You could pretty much search for anything you want and it'll pop up. I'm going to build this from scratch, but you do you. So for us, if we go back to the template for a second, there's three fields that we are concerned with: the quote, the author, and an image. So those are what we're going to go with here. We're going to create a quote header. We're going to create a author header, and we're going to create an image header. Um, I don't know about you, but I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So we are going to go with one of my favorites from Lord of the Rings, which is "Not all those who wander are lost." I'm sure you probably heard that one. So the author is J.R.R. Tolkien, and you'll never believe it, but I have this great image of him just hanging out in my upload section. And so the cool thing about Canva Sheets is that you could drop images in. So the first thing that I want to do when looking at this is think about what my actual outputs are going to be and what I want to see. And in this particular instance, let's say I work at an international company. I'm creating social content for many different languages. I want to ensure that all of my markets are covered. I also want to ensure that we are creating a consistent message across all. All right. So I think language becomes an important field and something to consider for us. So I'm going to add that in here, and we're going to add English, right? Because that's what this is. I'm also going to do this cool thing where I just drag it over next to the quote, because the reality is, for any and every language that we use, the author is still J.R.R. Tolkien, and it's still the same guy in the image. So we can update images, we can change authors, you can do all sorts of things. But I just want this quote in different languages for the time being. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. So first, let's say we want this in French. All right. So we are going to create a language, French cell here. It actually doesn't play into anything at the time being, but it's more just for our own reference. So we're going to copy the text. So I click here, I'm copying it, I'm adding it here. And then we are going to click this actions button, scroll down to, where is it? Translate. I passed it. We're going to pick French. We're going to use the original tones. We're going to translate the selected cells. And voila. I'm not even going to pretend to read that. I do not speak French. Okay, so that was really easy, right? But let's say we need to translate this into Spanish and German and Russian and Dutch and Japanese and we'd say Chinese and maybe even, I'm trying to think of a fun language. How about Italian as well? The idea of going through all of these one by one and doing this manual translation sounds a bit tedious. So what if we were to automate it? So check this out. We are going to highlight both columns here, and that's including these empty cells. We're going to hit actions. And there's this fill empty cells action. That is one of my favorite things in the world. So you click it, and using AI, it will translate all of them directly for you. And if that looks good, and we're going to have to assume it is because I don't speak most of these languages, we're just going to hit insert, and look at that. Our spreadsheet is filled out. And so if you had a bunch more languages, it would work just the same way. And all of this we're doing for preparation for bulk create. You could do this on a one-to-one basis with design. So if you have finalized design, you can use like the Magic Suite to actually just recreate that design in the different language on a one-off basis. So for the time being, we are going to work here. We're going to highlight these two cells, drag them down. And now we're going to use bulk create to create all of the social posts that we need to. So the first thing we're doing here is, as you saw, we are highlighting all of the content that we need for our posts. We're going to click this actions button in the toolbar, which is obviously a really important button in Canva. It unlocks a ton of functionality, including bulk create, which if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see, and it's a pro and enterprise feature. So when you click bulk create, the first thing that's going to happen that you'll notice is the sidebar that opens up. And the sidebar is just verifying the data range. So in this case, A1 to D10, that is correct. We're going to click this blue continue button. And you can work within the current design. You can also open up other designs. So for us, what I'm going to do is actually use a template. And that is going to open up here. So what we need to do is link the data. And the way we do that, or connect the data rather, is by clicking into the individual fields. And so we have our quote, we have our author, we have our image. We're going to click into each one, and there's this connect data button up at the top. So when you click connect data, it will show you the columns that were in the spreadsheet. So we're going to go with quote, and you saw it highlight over here on the left side. Next, we're going to do author. Connect data, author. We're not using language for anything. It was more just for autofill, so that's not going to get highlighted here. But then finally, we're going to click image, connect data, and image. And now I will want to show you real quick the advanced options. So there's a couple of different things here that are really interesting. One is, do you want individual designs or do you want one design with multiple pages? I'm a big fan of trying to keep things clean. So I like one design with multiple pages, but if you're dealing with multiple stakeholders, if you're dealing with bigger teams, sometimes it's just easier to create 9 individual designs. Then you're going to want to name the file. So you could name them with the original file name, or you can use the data in the columns to do so. So quote could actually be a really good one in that it has the actual content that we're looking for, and then you would pick a directory to put it in. So now that this is ready to go, we are going to create 9 designs. And this jumped back into the spreadsheet and it created all of these individual files. And what's really cool is there was absolutely zero editing in this. There's no video magic. The time that you saw from the click to these populating is how long it actually took. So if we were to then now open up these assets, you could see you have this one-off, not all those who wander are lost. Cool. Let's close that. This was the template. Here we are back here. Let's look at the Russian version. It's clean. It looks good. Authors in here. JRR is looking sharp in the background here. It's pretty sweet. Doesn't matter what language we look at. Here's the Chinese. Again, you're going to want to make sure that it's all correct, right? I assume it is, but it's pretty cool to see this at work. And if you were to update the template, you could recreate these to follow the new styles. If, for instance, you need something specific for a certain language or culture, you now have this as a one-off asset that you can edit. So like, what, on this particular one, I don't like the positioning. I just want his eyes over here. Double click and shift. Like, it's really, really easy to work with and to use, which I think is pretty awesome. And it's all based on the spreadsheet data. So to do a quick recap of everything we've covered today, we went through the Canva Visual Suite, which is super powerful and gives you a ton of functionality. We used a brand template. We created a sheet. And we used the Magic Translate functionality. We also used the autofill, which I think is just like the cheat code of Canva sheets. And then we created a bunch of assets with bulk create that were on brand, that were aligned with everything you're trying to do. They're consistent. They won't create any brand dissonance. They do all of the good things that you want to see as a brand leader, as a creative leader, as a content creator, to build trust with your audience. So huge thank you for sticking around and for listening to this. I hope you try these functions out really soon because they're awesome and really cool. And honestly, it's really fun to work with. And let me know how it goes. Thanks. Bye.